Hi, I'm MC Bushkin, one third of the Heartless crew. I'm a firm believer that music and movement is medicine, definitely, man. It gives you that feel good feeling. It uplifts your spirit, it makes you smile, and you understand, smiling is a healing in itself. So, yeah, man, anything that makes you smile is definitely going to be a medicine, and music is definitely that. Certain genres give you different feelings at different times. If I was going through a breakup, I might want to listen to some slow jams and get emotional on that kind of tip. And then if I'm getting ready to go out, I might go to my go-to garage tunes. Just going to get me up and amped and in that vibe.
So, with that in mind, you're a legend in the garage scene.
Allegedly.
Definitely. What has drawn you more to garage than any other genre?
It's a weird one because when we got into garage, we were actually trying our hardest to be jungle DJs and MCs. So we got into garage by default. If I'm to be totally honest, at that time, one of the biggest calling cards for us to get into garage was the girls because all the girls had kind of left the jungle scene and was kind of running into the garage scene. So that was the initial thing. But then in going into garage, what we did realize it was really like user friendly. It was really happy. There was such a loving vibe. We come from the jungle scene where it was quite a little bit darker and stiffer, and the music was a bit more aggy. Whereas when we came to garage, it was much more peaceful. It was loving. It was happy. I remember us first coming into garage scene, and like friends would say about the garage scene. I used to say about garage at that time was like, yeah, my garage is proper sweet. If someone steps on your shoes, they're gonna buy you a drink, and that was like the calling card for garage. Everyone would be saying that, like, yeah, how nice everyone is. If someone steps on your shoes, they're gonna hug you and take you to the bar and buy you a drink, which was true at the time. To answer your question, garage was a real happy, loving, upliftment vibe. Everyone was just there for the music and to have a good time. That is a good question, which I've never been asked before. Is there a particular BPM rhythm that influence? Sounds like a call a friend moment. Hey, Fonty, Mighty Mo. I think it's the feeling and the vibe that the producer puts into the tune, and then also what the artist vocalists will put onto it after, because there's certain bashment tunes that give me that feeling and that upliftment and the happy vibe, and then there's slow jams that do it, there's garage tunes that do it, and there's definitely jungle tunes that do it, like the Elizabeth Troys and those Sweet Loves and those type of tunes that give you that feeling. So I think it can be found across all the genres, but in my mind the genre I know it most specific to is dance music. Those early 90s, 80s dance anthems, they're the tunes that I kind of that keep on coming back in my mind. It really gives people that upliftment, that throw your hands in the air and let go of all your worries and everything and sack. That dance and that tempo is probably 125 to 135. Don't quote me because I'm not an expert, but I believe it's around there, and it's definitely that early dance kind of sound. Good, very good questions and good theory behind it as well. I mean, jungle, because of its tempo and because it's fast, that is a way to get people jumping, and people like they are gonna go from 0 to 100 in the quickest way. But I think more what you're asking about. Yes, jungle does have a feeling with it and can definitely take you to the euphoria state. But there's also different types of euphorias. Again, I'd go to like back to the dance music, and there's some tunes I'm kind of trying to think of. There's so many, and I need to, because I don't know the names, but I can find them on my phone. But I believe that era of music was made with a certain feeling, and the artists and producers that were making it at that particular time had a different end goal in mind, which is why I think it's more you got a more utopia feel than all the other musics, because I just believe that intent and the period of time when they were making it was just that. It was much more of a loving time. The music was about love. So when they're playing the music, it's got that input in it, and that's the output coming out of the speakers, which is making the people uplift most. And that's what in my experience of playing all over the place for many years. It's when we play those dance musics, the early 90s, late 80s, you understand? That's the music that gets people hugging and loving each other and really singing out from the heart. And when they're singing, the words they're singing up, that whole music was just a love genre, basically. And I think I see the similarities with funky, but I just don't think the emphasis was as much on love at that era as it was in the early 90s in particular for that dance music. Like tunes that I'm thinking of, I can't think of the names. There's this particular tunes that I'm thinking of that really sum it up. Only love can set you free. Only love can set you free. All that era of music where we play that type of music that really gets the people singing from their heart and hands in the air. It's that white glove era. Basically, this is one of the reasons why we've been able to last as long as we have and still been consistent and good without blowing our trumpets at what we're doing. I speak for myself, but I know it's also similar with Fonty Mo. It's innately in us. And it is innately in all of us, but it's just how much you let yourself go and how much you can tap into it. I'll speak for myself 100%. It is just innately in me. When I'm on stage and the music's playing, there's a connection with myself and the music and a connection with the crowd, and I'm able to let myself go and be led via the music, which inspires me. And a lot of the time, I don't know, I've not like I've rehearsed or I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to go like this or like that. I may think it's going to go a certain way, but it's not rehearsed. It's just on the spot, in the moment, letting myself go. And that's the best way, the natural kind of vibe. So to answer it, yes, definitely innately in, man.
Primal. Yeah. But did you know that rhythm is actually an instinct?
I didn't, but it doesn't surprise me. And when you saying yes, definitely, because when you hear the music, you do stuff without having to think. It just moves you. You understand? It's not like you're thinking, "Well, I'm gonna move." And actually, when you stop to think, that's where the problem comes. When we think about things, that's where the actual issues come. When we just let go and let ourselves be, it happens naturally. You don't have to do anything.
Facts.
Everything has an essence and a start. The essence of music is the drums, and as far as I know, it's like trace it back to Africa, and that's the start of it. So no matter what we do or say, the essence is going to be the same, and it's going to run concurrent right the way through. It wouldn't change. It's like the wheel. The wheel is the wheel in so many years. It's you've got a tire on it, but the wheel is in effect the same wheel from back God knows when to now, with music, extra patterns and other instruments involved. But ultimately, the essence is the essence.
It's the drum.
It's the drum. It spans right across the culture. Even look at it another way. Everyone comes from Africa anyway. Any which way you look at it, it's innately in all of us. No matter if you've come from Africa and gone to somewhere else, or you're in Africa still, it's going to be in you no matter what. Like, we all need that. It's another form of communication. It's a form of release. It's a form of expression. We definitely need it. And that's why it's innately in us. Music's a universal language. It's a healing. All these things. Like, it is paramount. We definitely need it. I don't try too hard with anything, because when you have to overly try, it's almost like you're forcing things and it's not natural. When we go in and feel and this level and we're at one with the event, the crowd and the feeling, it's easy, it flows. We don't have to think about it, we don't have to try. But when you've got to try and think, oh, I'm trying to move the crowd now, I'm going to try this, I'm going to try that, I'm going to try that, it's harder for yourself. And because all the music is about feeling, you understand, they can feel it. They're in the crowd and they can feel when a DJ is enjoying it and when he's in full flow. They can feel it when a DJ is trying or doesn't know what's going on. But they may not be able to articulate that as a crowd and say what's happening, but they can definitely feel it and they know it. That weren't all that, man. They're not too sure why, but well, and they might say, oh, the club or this, and they might attribute to other things, but not knowing that it was the vibe and the feeling, because it's all vibrations ultimately. And then on the same token, if you go somewhere and it's like, it was brilliant and you had the best night of your life and you don't even know why, but it's like, wow, man, that was sick, man, that was so cold. You understand? But again, it's the vibration and the feeling. That's a really good question. What makes it stand out? I mean, the first thing that comes to me is the vibe, but it's such a generic word and it's not specific, it's hard to put into a box, but the vibe and the feeling is what makes an event better than another event. As a performer, really letting yourself go and letting yourself be free and at one and at peace and really intertwined with the music. And once you do this, because it's vibrational, people can pick up on feelings better than words. And that's why they say actions speak louder than words. It's like the crowd also take that on. And if you've got, like, let's just say the rave's got 100 people in it and more than 60 are letting themselves go, you understand, and you can scale it up or down, the vibe is going to be electric. Different cultures do it different ways, but like in the Bushman crowd, for example, they're going to be slapping the walls and banging the walls. That's the way they're expressing, like, wow, this is like, it's got me acting up at the end to the extreme of, like, it's not so prevalent now, but back in the days, like shooting your gun in the air to, like, that is probably the height of, this is crazy now. I'm going to bust some rounds to show the euphoria in other scenes and cultures that literally whistled or hugging someone or picking them up and you understand, jumping, doing star jumps. When you get the majority of the crowd really letting themselves go because of the music, and they're all feeling music, that will come from a DJ playing a set what is just hitting everybody, like everyone is feeling it. The majority of the people are feeling every tune one after another, and it's like rolling, and everyone just, the more the tunes going, the more the people are letting themselves go, and they're dropping their shoulders, and then the euphoria is coming. I've seen it time and time again. That's big Fonty up because he's a master of doing this. But again, on a more technical level, like that can happen, but it's not a fluke that it happens. A lot can make it happen in a fluke way, and they don't know how they made it happen. That what we've been good at is being able to repeat this thing time and time again. But that's not a fluke. One, we practiced loads back in the days, and we were always more about the crowd. So our thing was more giving than receiving, which is very important in this. But also, and why I mentioned Fonty, and I have to give him his flowers because he's so musical. Like, the way he plans his sets and picks tunes, not even that he's planning it, but it's just that he knows music into such a deep way. He knows the keys and the feeling of different music. So he's putting them together like that. So if he's going to play a tune, sometimes it annoys me in some ways because it's quite frustrating that he will take so long to do certain things. But he's doing it from a position of knowing what goes together and what works together. Yeah, and that is how you can get that euphoria feeling. Some DJs will do it and almost a fluke, and they can do it, but they wouldn't be able to necessarily repeat that time and time again. They didn't know how they'd done it. But Fonty actually knows because he's studied music and can read and play music to a high degree.
So it's an art form.
To an art form, it puts him in a different category, so to speak. When you go back to the essence, this is how it started. The essence is exactly the same. The foundation of how this thing started, they were doing it for a particular reason, to connect with spirits, I believe, and to heal. And it's the exact same thing now, basically, in a rave. So it's exactly the same. When you were saying it earlier, I actually thought of the church. And I believe that's the same. It's very, very similar. You may have an organ player, you've got your preacher, and you've got the congregation. And again, it's the same essence. And I believe that essence, no matter where we go and how we look, we're going to see that essence repeated right the way through. It's crystal clear. You understand? 9 times out of 10, it goes good. I'm feeling more uplifted. I'm feeling happier. I'm feeling lighter. I think happier is probably the word I'd use if I was just to bottom it. It's good when you're making other people smile and you're making people happy, that in turn makes you happy. So, and that's generally what our job is as artists and entertainers. Definitely how I see it. So I'm there to uplift people, make them happy and have a good time and have their money's worth and forget their worries and whatever they've come to the rave with. So definitely if I do my job well and that's done, then when I come off the stage, I'm happy, I'm lighter, and it's a job well done. And if you do something good and you're proud of it, you're happy and it gives you a good feeling.
Do you feel, I've known you for a few years, and I would say that you're generally a very happy person.
Yep.
Do you feel like that's because of what you do? Because you're constantly in that catharsis.
Yeah, I'm always happy. Everyone always says it, but it is a choice. Everyone can be in that state. So I would definitely say that it's because of what I do. As long as I can remember, I've been happy prior to me doing music. That's just how I was and how I am. I mean, probably the music maybe enhanced it, and it's definitely given me a way to channel it. It's given me a way to channel it more to others. Because I've always been, funny enough, quite a popular person in school. In secondary, everyone always used to come to my house and what's going on, where we going this weekend, what's happening, and I've always had that kind of magnet vibe. But I suppose in doing music, it's in way of me infecting many more people with that vibe.
Yeah.
And so it's enhanced it, and it's definitely a way for me to get, I don't want to say get rid of, but definitely to pass on, channel the energy that I have. For some reason, I've always had loads of energy and just been high on life. So
Do you get stressed?
very, very rarely.
Yeah,
Everything's kind of like a
things just
water
kinda-
on the ducks back to me. I've always been this way, happy-go-lucky, and I always think everything's going to work out and I'm going to land on my feet. And because I think that it always just does work out. And that's why music is extremely powerful. That it can definitely influence people. If you know how to do it and know what you're doing, then yes, being a good host and understanding music and myself, that can definitely influence people to do stuff through the power of music whilst performing. Like you said, it can be used in a negative or a positive way, and definitely can change your mood state and heal you or harm. So yeah, it's definitely got the power to do either, and that's why yeah, it's very important that people who are doing music understand this and kind of know what they're doing and why they're doing it, because it is very powerful. And to the people who say, "Oh, it's not me or it's not my music that's doing this and doing that," they're gravely mistaken. It's a really important thing you're doing, highlighting and spreading the gospel, highlighting it to the masses and letting people really understand and get in tune with what's going on and the power of music. The fact that music is medicine and can really help. And so we've all been in dark places, and music has been the thing that's kind of got us out and made us see the light at the end of the tunnel. So yeah, man, I have to give you your props and your flowers, man, because it's a brilliant work.